All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon. This is from a Wednesday afternoon, and I'm recording this video as part of a homework. So today, me, Muhammad Sadiq Ravshanov, I am going to talk about operating system architectures and their types. So let me see if my screen is visible now. I hope everything is going to be clear, voice and all the things are clear. If yes, without further ado, let's get going. So, operating systems and architecture, the brain behind the machine. So the title is quite special here, the brain behind the machine. So it has a special meaning behind this because your computer without an operating system is nothing but a box of silicon. So it's not going to work without the operating system. It is one of the most important part of your computer, which is why we are going to be talking about them today. And it's let's move on to the next slide. So yeah, what you see, without like before moving on to what types of operating system exist, let me first give you a general idea of what an operating system actually is, so you will have a better understanding. Well, operating system, in a sense, is an interface between you, user, and computer, the machine. So you click a button and it knows what to do. So it's all because of operating systems. And please let me check one more time if my screen is going, this being recorded. I hope it is. Well, back to the video. What is an operating system? As I told you, it's an interface between you and the computer. And you see, it connects you, user, with hardware, but there's also but it's also the manager. Why we call it as a manager is because it makes sure that everything in your machine runs smoothly and nicely. So that's why it handles memory, processes, and files. A couple of words about its functionality. I think it is very important for making your computers use. And there's also a fun fact about the computer, about operating system. It's that first operating system filled the whole room in the 1950s. Can you imagine? I mean, an operating system as big as the size of a room. Right now, we even have it in smartwatches. So it has become from being something very large to something tiny. So without your operating system, it's going to be very hard for your computer. It's like talking to CPU directly to binary. So that's why you need to have an operating system, which is an important part of your machine. Well, let's now talk about the classification of operating systems. This is basically what types of operating system means. So operating systems comes in all flavors and shapes. So some are for a single user, and for some of them are for thousands of users. So this is their types: user types, single user, multi-user. So there is also, the operating systems also differ in their functionality, meaning that some of them are single, others are multitasking, and let me double check. Yeah, everything. I was just checking if my camera was visible. So yeah, it is visible. Purpose. They also differ in their purpose. Some of them are used for real-time applications, and others are used for general purposes. And also the last thing, in their device type, there is embedded ones, there is also mobile operating systems, which we are going to talk about in a minute. But before that, you need to understand that whether you're running Linux on a server or iOS on your phone, they are all optimized for specific purpose. So they are built for different purposes. Okay, the next slide. Desktop server operating systems. So there are actually popular types of examples of operating systems like Windows, Mac OS, Linux, Ubuntu server. We have been told during the classes that Ubuntu server is originally from Africa, and we have also been able to install it via VirtualBox on classes, I mean Linux server, and it was actually cool. About key functions, I think about key functions, there is a system called GUI, so it helps with operating systems, actually helps with GUI. Multitasking also, many people say that the main reason behind operating system is multitasking, so it enables you to use multiple applications at a time. Also for user management, which is relevant. Common uses personal, office, enterprise services. So basically what that means is it's used for different purposes, for your own purpose, or as a team too. So fun fact about this server operating system is that Linux run over 90% of internet servers. So if you think about it, it's like 90% of all the web includes your Google, your Facebook, and maybe some of the online games you play. All of them are operated via using the operating system called Linux. So this is quite important type of operating system to pay attention for. Well, the next slide, special purpose operating systems. There are different types of the purposes for operating systems, like real-time, embedded, mobile, and also network operating systems. Well, there is also a difference in their usage, of course, but the first one, real-time operating system, are mainly used for robotics and medical services. But embedded operating systems, however, they are usually found in smart TVs and also elevators. Mobile operating systems, on the other hand, are used by thousands and hundreds of millions of users by system called Android and iOS, which are quite popular, as you might have heard. So lastly, there is also a Cisco iOS for routers, and it is also basically a way of keeping internet plumbing working. Okay. The next one. So again, no general, one special note about this one, again, no general one that fits for all, but actually different ones for different purposes. Okay, then operating systems and their architecture types. There are different types of operating systems architecture. Like the first one goes monolithic kernel, and it is usually used by Linux server. And if you think about it, it's a very fast server. But the problem with it is it's risky. So think of it as an example. I could say you could think of it as a sports car without an airbag. Looks scary, huh? However, there is also microkernel, which is far minimal. So in its size, it's very minimal. However, it's fast. It's safer but more complex. So meaning it is safe and complex at the same time. But there is also a hybrid one. So hybrid one, as the name of it suggests, it's the combined version of Windows that is used for Windows and Mac OS. So it balances between performance and safety. So this is actually the one that I think is the best among all. But lastly, there is also exokernel, which is bare bones control used in MIT experience. This is for scientific purposes and academic purposes. That's why, as you might see, MIT also uses this type of network. And one more thing about their architecture diagram. So I think there is a little mistake in the presentation. There should have been their visual diagram. But yeah, again, monolithic, microkernel, hybrid, and exokernel. You've got the idea. But let's now talk about their real-world application, because learning theory is important, but it's also important to know where we are going to use such kind of operating systems. So as you can see, Windows 11 here uses a desktop, and this is hybrid. So this is for gaming and enterprise purposes, enterprise apps. But there is also one second. But there is also Linux, and Linux is also used by server and desktop. This is monolithic, as I have told you, and this is also used for space purposes, for exploring the stars and exploring the universe as a whole. But there is also Android version of it, like the mobile version. So this is like modified Linux, and it's used by a lot of people. Like, if you have to be precise about it, 3 billion devices. So QNX real-time, this is a real-time desktop, and it is microkernel. So, but this one differs a little in its usage. So it's for medical services and also CAPS. And one last thing about their, but there's also iOS. If you want to pay attention, this is hybrid. This delivers a smooth and seamless experience for Apple devices. So if you have an Apple device, it's better to use this type of system. Okay, why it all matters? So the reason behind why we need to be careful with choosing operating system is that it depends on the it highly impacts on your on your machine's performance. So it means that the type of operating system you choose determines speed and smoothness of your machine. But it's also connected with the security, so it ensures how vulnerable your computer is to different kinds of threats. So it's protected, it's well protected by one type of system rather than the other. So there is a huge difference actually between them. One last thing about their scalability. So they differ in their sizes, of course. It decides how well the system can grow or adapt. So it's also for future references. And as an example, you could see that SpaceX uses Linux for rocket control. So I think if SpaceX uses this type of Linux system for their own purposes, it would be a good idea for you to try it out, because it could also work out to you. So in conclusion, to sum it up, to wrap things up, I could say that operating system as a whole acts as the brain of your computer. So it's a very important part, but architecture acts as a form of skeleton, meaning this is the external side, but this is the brain is actually the like hardware of it, right? Software, hardware, you could say, you could name it in any way you want, but basically what it means is, so this is the body and this is the skeleton. And today it has been with you, Mohammed Sadek, talking about the types of computer architecture and operating system. So the final little tip that I'm going to give you is, if you want to master operating system, it would be if you want to be a versatile engineer in IT industry, there's a growing demand for versatile engineers, and as their core fundamentals and foundations is going to be operating system. So you need to learn it for these purposes too. And thank you so much for listening and coming to the end of the video. This is going to be pretty much all about what I wanted to say on types of operating systems. Thank you.